Hello friends, hello everyone, how's it going? I was given a fantastic idea from my dear friend, David Guire. He contributed this, oh you can't see it, I won't, you know what, I'm just gonna switch. He added this to my Twitch repo, I'm just gonna do that, suggesting getting started contributing to Gutenberg and how we would do that. And so I was going to go through the process and get set up locally with the actual code. We're going to create an issue for this thing that we're trying to do. And then we're going to create a pull request, and then we're going to get it submitted, and then we'll wait for someone to hopefully commit it. So that's the plan. So it's a little bit different than normal, but it is going to be fun, I think. And as usual, you get to watch me type really poorly and watch me struggle and do all kinds of stuff. So let's get into it. All right, jump over to my cam here. So the first place, if you're interested in getting into contribution for specifically Gutenberg, I would check out this link. So this is the contributor guide. And if you drill down into it, you can get into the code section right there. But I should call out, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that you don't need to write code to contribute to Gutenberg or WordPress core. There's testing, there's documentation, there's design. There's lots of places where you can contribute if you want to contribute. Have a look at this. You can poke through everything. The place where we're going to look is just getting started with code contribution. You can read all this. I'm just going to show you how to do these. How to do this stuff. Okay, so first thing that you need to do is you need to go over to the Gutenberg repository and fork a copy of this. So once you have that, so this is my fork here. You'll have your own fork, because you will not be able to push directly to the repository. You will not have write access. You can download it, but you can't do much with it. So what you will want to do is, once we've got your fork set up, you're gonna grab your code here. So in the terminal of your choice, or any GUI or whatever you want to do, I'm just going to navigate into my repositories thing, right? And I'm going to say git clone, and we're going to clone Gutenberg down. This could take a little bit of time because it's a big project, tons of history there. So we're going to let that run. So the idea is you're going to have your fork as origin, as sort of the main remote. And then what we want to also do is add Gutenberg as a secondary remote. So this is a Git thing. If you don't know what remotes in Git are, basically it's where the code is living out in the world. That's the way of putting it. And so if I go git remote v, which is going to list, oh, sorry, I have to cd. So if I look in here now, I've got Gutenberg. So if I cd into Gutenberg, you can see this is now showing it as a Git repo. And so if I go git remote v, this is going to list all the remotes that I have set up. So right now I've got one. This is origin. This is what the default one is called when you clone something. So what I want to do is I want to set up what we refer to as the upstream. Because what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to get all the code changes that have come from the Gutenberg repo, the actual one, and then get them into my repo. And so I have the most up-to-date code. So it's pretty straightforward. We're gonna go over to the Gutenberg repo. We're gonna get I'm using SSH because I have SSH keys set up for my account. You should too, it's better for security, but we just need this thing here. And then we're gonna come over here and we're gonna go git remote, I'm gonna go add, I'm gonna call it upstream, this is just the name, and I'm gonna pass the URL. And I think this is gonna work. Okay, so if I git remote v, now you see I've got my origin, which is my repo, and then I've got the upstream, which is the actual repo from Gutenberg. So what you'll do is you'll come in and say, okay, I'm going to start working today. I'm on my thing, so I want to say git fetch upstream. And so what this is telling Git is go to the upstream remote, which is the actual Gutenberg repo, and fetch all of the information. So tell me everything about it. Now this is going to fetch everything, and fetch in Git is just mostly like let me know about it rather than do anything with it, sort of. Okay, so you can see we've got all the tags in the world, everything coming down. And then what we want to do is we'd want to say git merge upstream, that's the remote, and then trunk branch. Boom. And so what that's done is that's taken all the code in the trunk, the main trunk branch from Gutenberg, and merged it into my fork. And then what I can do is do a git push, and then I'll push that up to my repo. So that's how I set it up. So I'm not going to do anything with this because I've actually got my own thing all set up properly. I've got it already set up. And you can set this up in a number of ways. If you just jump back over to the thing again here, the local environment, you can set that up however you want. If you like to use like local or any other WordPress environment, you can absolutely use it, because when you check this out, and let's just take a look at the code here. So here is, I'm going to get rid of this. If we look at this, this is basically the Gutenberg plugin. This is what it sort of shows up as, right? So what you can do is you can check this repo out into any active WordPress install that you have locally. That'll work fine. You can also, assuming that you have Docker installed, you can check this out completely outside of WordPress, and then you can use the env package that is set up to run with this, and you just run that, and it'll start a WordPress instance for you. So it depends on what you're working on. I love the env package. The one thing that I found, and it's probably just because I don't know, I haven't figured out how to do it, is that I find it hard to debug the PHP side of things, because you don't get access, like it will fire errors, but it's hard to look at logs. It's hard to look at the debug.log file that WordPress spits out if you set that up. So I found that a little bit difficult, but depends on what you're working on. If you're working on just JavaScript stuff, you probably won't have an issue there. Once you've got that set up, you shouldn't have to set it up again. So first thing that I would do when I come into work, and I'm gonna do it right now, is I'm gonna say git fetch and then upstream. I'm gonna run that. It's gonna pull down whatever's different. So you can see, it doesn't look like there's much changed. But then I'm gonna say git merge upstream and trunk. Just gonna hide that for now. What that's gonna do, great. And then I'm gonna just do git push. And what that's gonna do is that by default, git push pushes the origin. So this is just pushed all the changes to trunk, all this stuff up here. I'm pointing at this stuff with my finger on the screen. Yeah, you can't see that. That's just pushed it all up to my fork. Cool. So then now we can start working. But before we start working, we need to know what we're doing. So here we are in Gutenberg, and we have an issue. So what we want to do is we're going to come over here, and we're going to just create a new issue. And this is what we're doing is what I'm doing today is we're going to be trying to add the ability to define dev dependencies as well as dependencies for the create block package. So that's an enhancement or a feature request. So we're going to click that template, and then we just can name things. Now this, like creating an issue, it should just be as verbose as you can, explain as much as you can about it. I totally get that this can be a little daunting. Put as much info here as you can. So the thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say allow dev dependencies. God, these to be defined for a template. Okay, so that's what that is. What is this? Okay, currently the template system for WordPress create block package allows the definition of dependencies, but not dev dependencies. So I'm just gonna do a bit of this, What does it look like? There are many times that block may need dev dependencies defined. Sure. Okay. Grammarly's losing its mind on me here. Okay, so what's my proposed solution? Add a dev dependencies default. What should we call that? I'm gonna take a look at the so packages. I'm gonna create block. Where is that? There it is. Where are we down here? Where did I see that? Oh, there we go. Okay. Add variable to the template. Sure. Okay, so that's kind of all we need. There are many times. Dependencies. Just gonna clean this up. Okay, cool. So the next thing that you should do is you should come over to labels and try to label this as much as possible. A lot of times, if this is your first issue or something like this, someone's going to come in and triage this and add some appropriate labels, but try to do it the best you can. Like what you can do is there's feature for sure. Oh no, sorry, it might be enchantment in type as an enhancement. That's what this is. It's also for the create. There's usually a tag. Yeah, there we go. There's usually a tag for each package, right? I'm gonna add maybe, and this is just because I know about this stuff, but developer experience. And this is going to be very contextual. Whatever you're working on is going to be a little bit different, but just try to add, as many labels as you can. No one's going to come in and yell at you if you don't add the right ones, or if you add the wrong ones, or whatever. It's all good. And that's really all we need to do, I think. Should a better name be npm dev dependencies, similar to npm dependencies? Yeah, that's a great idea. That's such a good idea. Thanks, David. Yeah, so we'll do that to align with the existing what's it, npm dependencies. There we go. Awesome. So then that's a fantastic idea. Thank you. And then okay, so I'm going to submit this issue, and then now we just got to write some codes. So let's get into it. So working on this is a little bit different than working on some of the other things, because I'm not going to use a local development environment. I'm just going to, because it's a node script, so I'm just going to run it. So if we go into packages, down here and create block, where's that? Create block. Here's our lib. You can see there's a lot of stuff going on in here, right? So I'm going to see and track down. It looks like it's probably a init package.json is where that comes from. So in here we've got dev dependencies, or npm dependencies. And then, so scripts, where is it doing the dependencies? Okay, cool. npm install package R. Okay, this might get a little bit complex. Okay, cool. So the first thing that I think we should do here is get that in there somehow. So where do we put that? So custom scripts. I did the custom scripts one. I just don't remember where it is. It in here? Okay, so let's look. Okay. And welcome to like the first part of Gutenberg development. Is figuring out where you need to change the code. I think this is the case in any large project, trying to figure it all out. But I'm pretty sure that is the thing. Init block. Nope. Okay, I think we need to do, I think it's in the scaffold here. What is this? Creating new WordPress block, that thing. Okay. Okay, cool. So I think this is where we need to start, is the scaffold. So what I'm gonna do is block up a ton, block it, and this comes from, where does this come from? Okay, so it just gets passed. So where is that getting passed? Index. Command name. Sorry, I'm poking around a lot, just trying to figure out where all this stuff gets. So this is, okay, scripts. env. Okay, yeah, so it all gets past the scaffold. So I think all I need to do is get it working in there. So I'm just gonna do some, I'm gonna get this thing going at clear, oops. Clear, we're gonna have it just J, where am I here now? Okay, cool. So I need to get this set up. So how am I gonna get this set up? Okay, I need a place to set up a template. So I'm going to J repo. See what I need a template that I have to be able to test. So let's see. CD hello block template. So I'm gonna open that up in code and just take a look at that. So this is a template that I have set up. That just is some random template that I have set up. I think it works. So what we want to do here is we're going to want to add, so let's just see, it's going to be what, npm dev dependencies, and it's going to be an array, I believe. And we're going to say, let's look at that create block one. That one. Let's look for a dependency that I need here. So I'm just going to say we need all this stuff. I'm not going to do anything with this yet, but that's the idea, is that it would go in there, right? I think it goes in the same spot. Sorry, I'm jumping around between projects here. This has got to be a bit confusing, but okay. So I just wanted to make sure that it was expected in the default values area. So now that I have that here, I'm just going to do one. So when I run this, I want to be able to have this run and then have this get triggered and do what it needs to do. So that's the idea. So I need to come into here. So this is going to be kind of a weird setup. So I need to go, I'm going to get, I'm going to, what is this, ls? Where am I? It's weird. Why did it? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I need to do npx create block. Oh, sorry. There we go. All right. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to say npx WordPress create block test build. And then I'm going to tell it the template is the hello block template. You can't see what I'm typing. Yes, you can. And I'm going to, just for the sake, okay, I'm just going to, for the sake of this, say no WP scripts, because I just want it to run and see what happens. And I want to wait for the scripts to happen. Yes, it's fine. Okay, so let's go cd test build. All right, so we open this in code now. Oops. Oh, boom. All right, let's see what this looks like. So our package.json. Okay, so it built. The reason it didn't include any dependencies is because I passed no WP scripts, because I didn't want to wait for that to happen. I just wanted to make sure it worked. So that's okay. So the next part of this is, I think I have to do it like this. I don't think I have this set up anymore now. Okay, so because I don't want to use, so NPX is going to reach out to the npm repository and look for WordPress create block, all that stuff, test build. What I want to do is I'm going to run node, and I'm going to run it on a file on basically wherever this is. Where am I now? Come on now. Where's this? There we go. I'm going to run it on create block. Is it? I think I need to run it on this file. So I'm going to copy this path. This is very, very complicated, I realize. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run node on that file in this location, and then I'm going to pass test build to, because I realize now I have one on there already, and I'm going to pass the template. I'm just going to basically run this whole thing. I'm going to pass all those to this, and I think this is going to work. And actually it's going to fail because I need to, let me know if I end up off the screen here. Test build, call it local, see what happens. Boom. Oh, sorry. Couldn't find the template, that was a problem. I think, let's see, boom. Okay, ls. So should have a test build local. I go into cd test build local. Open that up in code. We can just see what's in there, and it looks like it did the exact same thing. Okay, cool. So that was a lot of setup to basically allow me to make changes locally and run this thing on a template and have it all work, if that makes sense. So let's close down some of these things. Okay, so I have this in place. I'm gonna do like, no, I'm not gonna do that. So what I wanna do, dependencies, I spelled that wrong. There we go, npm dependencies. So now that I've added this, I should be able to get access to it in the create block way back in the other place. Right, so in here somewhere. So I'm gonna just hide this because we don't need to mess with that anymore. I'm gonna close this. Actually, I'm gonna add it to this workspace right at the just so I don't have to keep all these stupid worm repositories, all these stupid test build. I'm gonna add test build right there, and I'm going to do it that way. And I think I can rm rf test, what? Test build local. Why is it trying to say weird? Oh wait. CD out one, CD out one, rm rf. Possibly the most dangerous command you can run on your file system is test build local. Get rid of that. And then I'm actually just going to get rid of test build like this as well. And then it'll just show up there as empty. That's fine. Okay. So what I want to do is I'm going to run that node command every single time that I make a change. And it's going to spit stuff out into here somewhere. All right. So the first thing that I'm going to do is in my index, I am going to look and see where that stuff gets passed. So I'm assuming, where does dependencies get passed? npm dependencies, where does that get run? I don't know if I need it right away. Check requirement, maybe it's just in the scaffold. Which brings me over here, because this is the first place I see it. So I'm gonna go npm dev dependencies. Okay, and then in here, I'm going to console.log npm dev dependencies, and maybe I'll just go like return, see what happens. Okay, so now let's jump over here. I'm gonna run node. So this is a whole bunch of stuff that is just gonna get this thing to run. hopefully it'll spit out the dependencies. There we go. So I can see my dependencies in here now, because remember we added this stuff. So all I did was console log it and then just return, so it doesn't go through everything, right? And so, okay, great. So that's the first step. So we don't need to necessarily console log this anymore, but we know that that thing is ready for us. So in here, namespace dependencies, so we're gonna put npm dev dependencies in here. I'm assuming we need it in here, so let's see. And okay, promise all, this is doing a whole bunch of stuff. So init package JSON. Yeah, so this is creating a variable called view, an object called view, and then that object is getting passed entirely into init package JSON, which is going to init the package JSON. This is going to say await init WP scripts, and I wonder, so this is where we were before. So installing the scripts package, formatting JavaScript. Maybe that's not where we want to do that. Oh, maybe I have to do it in here. This looks like the place to do it. In here. So now we have this, and so now, okay, cool. So now we're doing all this. So this is building out the contents of the package.json file that will come with this. So in here, we're going to do if scripts and size dependencies. We can do that. I'm wondering what the best way to do this. Okay, I think just for the sake of getting this working right now, I think what I'm going to do is just add this routine again in its entirety. So if we have scripts and npm dev dependencies, we're going to run that on there, but then we're going to say npm install that, and we're going to do a -D, skipping npm dev dependency. Installing npm dev dependencies. It might take a couple of minutes. Okay. So this is just a bunch of node stuff that's just automating all the commands that we would run normally. So all I'm doing here is just I'm doing this doing the same thing, just passing a -D, and that should be the same as passing -- save dev, I believe. I'm just going to use the shorthand. I don't know if there's a reason one way or the other to use D, you know, over the save dev. Maybe it's actually more verbose to do it this way. So we'll do it that way. Why not? Okay, and we'll get some messaging in there. So this should do it. So let's give this a whirl. So let's see. So I'm going to run the same thing, but I'm going to take off this no WP scripts, because basically you need to have scripts installed to be able to run the rest of the stuff. That may or may not be something that, you know what? I think that should be a requirement. So we're going to do this. We're going to see what happens. It's gonna take a little while to run. So it's building out our stuff. Okay, we're compiling the block. Okay, so let's see what this did. CD build. Oh, you know what? I don't have to. I've already got it in here. We're gonna just close this. Let's come on now. Oops. What did I build that as? Oh, build local. Dumb. Okay. Let me run it again because I'm being lazy. I don't want to open up another command. Okay, this is the problem with reusing other things. I'm just going to run this again. So yeah, so this is. I mean, I've been doing a bunch of contributing to the Create Block package, and I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. It's not your typical sort of Gutenberg contribution thing though. All right, so let's see. Oh, look at, oh no. Oh, we got an issue. So scripts got installed in dev's dependencies. All right. Well, oh wait, no. Ryan. It is supposed to be a dev dependency. That's correct. So that's getting added. Okay, so let's just do some more testing. Where did I do that? Oh, recent, where'd that thing go? Hello block template. I can open that up for a second. I'm gonna put some regular old dependencies in here and just make sure we got no problems there. No, npm dependencies. What's a dependency that I should put in there? What do we think? What do you think we should put in there? I'm drawing a complete blank. Tailwind. That's the only thing I can think of because we just took that out of here. Tailwind. CSS. Doesn't really matter. I just want to make sure it works. All right, so we'll come in here and we will go rmrf -rf test build. We get rid of that. And we're going to run this node thingy-mabob again. We'll see what this does. And that'll run. This is cool. It's only npm dependencies. Might take a couple of minutes. Content dev dependencies might take a couple of minutes. Cool. Let's look in here now. Let's see what we got. So package.json. All right. So that's doing our dependencies. That's doing our dev dependencies. And did it all get installed? I guess the other way to test it is just by running this stuff, but yeah, I think that does it. I think that does it. Maybe we can clean this up though. Creating a package.json file and then installing. Maybe we can make this a little bit cleaner. We're doing a lot of the same things here, right? We're doing all this stuff twice. So maybe we can create a little function. Maybe we can do this. We go, I'm going to do some logic here and say, if scripts and size, maybe this is, I think I have to nest that a little bit. So my logic here is I want it to be if we have scripts and either size, either npm dependencies has something or npm dev dependencies has something, then we're going to run this. So then it's going to say installing npm dependencies might take a couple of minutes. And so for const, maybe I think we can probably run this for loop. At the very least, we can get rid of this second line and just run the for loop twice, which I'm not a huge fan of. So we can say installing dependencies, and then so maybe we can do that. Installing npm dependencies. Oh, is it doing this? No. npm. Maybe we can do this. Dev dependencies. It might take a couple of minutes. All right, so we're streamlining this a little bit. I still don't like having to do all this stuff again. So package arg. So that runs the command, and then we do this. So I'm going to put that into a function. I think call it. Can I just do this right in line? Can I just go function check dependency? Like that. And then we'll give it the dependency. Package. Package, okay. And then inside of here, do this try. No, do this. Copy that out, put this in here. Why is this not doing what I want it to do? So we can do that. We can make that a bit more, we can go like this. dependency, and then we'll pass package arg, boom, right? And then now we can simplify this down here as well. I think that'll work. Anybody's better at everyone's better at JavaScript than me, but anyone see any arguments with any issues with this? This should still throw something, right? And then all right, let's give this a little whirl. All right, I'm going to look at this for a second. Come on now. Test build. Okay, I'm gonna clear the test build. RMR test build, and we're gonna run this again, and hopefully everything should still get installed. I'm just trying to streamline that code a little bit more. Maybe some messaging. npm dependencies, npm dev dependencies might take a couple minutes. Oh, you know what would be super cool? Is if it actually told you what the package was that was being installed. Like it says installing package, WordPress scripts package. It might take a couple of minutes. What if we did that? Anyone? Any ideas? Like that would be pretty cool. So where does it? Okay, so it's so let's do here. We'll do. I don't know what this is going to look like, but I don't know why this is not formatting. It's going to yell at me like crazy when I go to commit this. Installing. I don't know if I can do it like this. Installing. Boom. I'm going to do that. Let's just see. Okay, let's rerun that and just see what we do. So I think it's nicer to, yeah, there we go. Look at that. So installing npm dependencies, and then maybe I'll remove this, and it says installing Tailwind CSS. This might be like message overload a little bit, but and then in here, do that above, in there, see what happens. Okay, let's see. Okay, so here we go. Post CSS. There, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Anyone have any objections to like that much stuff being output in your console? I guess it doesn't matter. It's just one time, but it tells you exactly what's being installed and where, which is nice. Cool. Okay, well this is clearly working now, right? So we've got our Tailwind dependent, our CSS, our post CSS. We got all this stuff in here. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean that's kind of it. I think at this point, right? Like I don't think there's anything else that we could that we can kind of add to this. So let's get this into a pull request. So I'm going to look at the code that's been changed, right? So if we look at this stuff, we've just add npm dev dependencies to as a template variable. Probably should have committed this stuff a little bit more iteratively, because now we're sort of like are there any docs that need updating in this repo? In Gutenberg, there's a couple. Docs always need updating. So related to your change, yes, there will be docs that need to be updated. So we'll do that as part of this as well. So there's a couple of like housekeeping things. So let's get this code committed. So I'm update messaging to show what packages are being installed. Cool. So this is the code change. So I'm just going to add both these. All right. And then let's just see. I think this is going to, okay. And then I'm going to try to commit it. Now there's a whole bunch of like pre-commit hooks that get run and everything in here. So chances are this is going to pop up and say, you've done something dumb. There we go. So let's see what my command output is. So I got some packages, init package, parsing here, unexpected preserve. Oh, well, that's dumb. Okay. So where is that? 62 on. So this is telling me that I'm using this linting failed. So I need to fix that. So package JSON on line 62 or something. Oh, right here. So this is, what is it being package arg? I'm going to do that. I'm just going to call it that. And this actually probably needs to be defined as well, right? So this is probably a string, I'm assuming, helper to determine if we can install this package. I'm not sure if we should split that out somewhere else, but we're just going to leave that there. So we're going to do that. And I think that's all the errors. So I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to re-add this. And the git commit hook stuff is awesome because what it does is when you go to commit, it checks it all and then it stops you. And so now I just added that change and now I can retry and hopefully I don't get more errors. Sometimes you'll run into, oh, there's some more stuff. Sometimes you'll run into errors that are completely unrelated, which is fun. Oh, new line after description. Okay, so I haven't done that. And this is going to catch you in a lot of things. I don't know why my VS Code is not auto formatting things, so that's probably why I'm getting some of these errors. String package arg. Yeah, I'm just gonna. I bet you the package. I'm just gonna add this because I think this is gonna yell at me. Package to install. It doesn't return anything. Okay, and I might need. Maybe it wants me to document that it throws. Anyways, I'm gonna get back into this. Keep adding my changes, and hopefully we don't get into a vicious. There we go. Cool. So that's. Oh no! I did that on trunk. I didn't create a branch. Let's see. Commits. Can I just? I'm just gonna create a new branch here. Create a new branch. So this is so dumb. So when you're creating branch names, if you're adding something new, I believe the convention is to prefix it with try. I don't know if you can see that. So I'm gonna do a new branch called. Thanks, David. I don't always commit to trunk, but when I do, it's in front of a live stream. So now keep in mind that this is only committing it to my fork. So that's not a problem. I can revert this commit. So yeah. So I'm not worried about that. But anyway, so I'm gonna try adding npm dev dependencies to template. Okay, so I have that. So now I've got my thing up here, right? So I can publish this branch. Now VS Code, I don't know if you can see that, but VS Code is asking me where do I want to publish this. So it asks if I can't publish this to upstream because I don't have push asking. So what you want to do is push it to your own fork, and it's up there. And so now that we've done that, the next part that there's two things that we want to update. Well, first of all, let's go look at Gutenberg here. So if we look at the code for Gutenberg, you can see that because I have a fork and I'm logged in, I now have this. Hey, I just pushed this up here. Do you want to do a pull request? So I'm gonna start the process of a pull request, right? So in here, again, labels, we're gonna add, what is this, create block. And I just like to add the same labels that I did for the last one, so developer experience, and then the feature. no, enhancement, I'm sorry, enhancement, right? So we can do that stuff. So I've seen people do this. I think this helps when people are trying to get these commits like into, because when Gutenberg gets released, it gets released on like there's a 4-week cycle, or 2-week cycle. So week 1 is a release candidate. Week 2 is the actual version that gets released out into the world. And so sometimes prefixing your PRs with this helps people to be able to pull those out and put them in the right place when they do the release notes. So that's just something to think of. So this is the default sort of template that you use, and so you just kind of fill in the blanks here. So what is this PR doing? This PR adds a new template variable to the create block package to allow templates to define dev dependencies. To my knowledge, I don't know if there's like a hard and fast rule. Now, maybe I should read the docs about contributing a little bit better. If people really don't like what you'll do, they'll comment, they'll make a change to the title. I think as long as we're like, the more information that you can put into your PR, I think the better, right? There's no such thing as over communicating, especially when we've got, a massive amount of people looking these in a whole bunch of places, right? So this is, okay, so this PR adds a new template variable to the create block package to allow templates to define dev dependencies, period. Why? Some blocks require dev dependencies. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory. That should not be added to regular dependencies. I don't know, I'm just making this up. Dependencies. How? This is done by introducing a npm dev dependencies. I'm never going to spell this properly. Dependencies variable. So the testing instructions is where things get a bit funky. So I've actually done a bunch of these. I'm going to just grab exactly what I did in my other ones. So I'm just going to go. This is a trick that I do. I go to my pull requests. I look for closed ones, and I look for. Here we go, copies. So this is one they did for the scripts package. So it's a little bit different, but it's the same idea. So if I look at this, my testing instructions were basically doing all of this. Wait a minute. There, that's the one. This is the one that I did for the custom script. So we're gonna do a all right. Oops. Where'd it go? There we go. Testing instructions. Create. The first thing they're going to need to do is create a new template for. Now what did I do in here? Create block to show these data. Download. Oh, okay, I'm just going to do this. So this is telling them just to download a dynamic block template and add a npm dev dependency. This is going to be so specific to what you're working on. So dependencies to entry to the index.js and add an array of dependencies. Dependencies. Oh my god, dependencies. There we go. Run. Yeah, I guess we could do that. Run. Yeah, I guess I could have ran it that way too. Okay, cool. So that's that. So now we've got this, right? We've got the stuff in here. So we can just hit create pull request. Now that we have the pull request, what we need to do is get the URL and come back over to our to the code that's in our pull request, because we need to update both the changelog and we need to update the README for the documentation. So let's do the changelog first. So in the changelog, there's this unreleased section. So what you're going to want to do is put this in that 3.4, and then and it's going to look something like this, because there's an automated process that happens behind the scenes when we release a new version of one of these packages or any of these packages. There's a script that runs and parses all the things, and it looks for anything unreleased, and then it moves it into the next version number. So that's what we do there. And so we can, this is, I think we have to add new features up there too. So this is unreleased, so I'm gonna add new features. Yeah, so this is, okay, so there's 4 in there. So there's add npm dev dependencies, template variable. All right, I'm gonna close this down. All right, to allow definition of dev dependencies. You'd think I'd be able to spell it right by now. And then what you typically do is this down here. So we're gonna, and it's a link to the PR basically. So we're gonna get the number and drop that in there. And then this is the link, and we're gonna do that. And I think that's all we need to do, and put a little period. So that updates the changelog. So if this gets, or when this gets committed, hopefully the changelog's already in place. Right, so we can come over to our source and we can say, oh, I didn't save it. We say update changelog, change. The reason I did this afterwards is so I had the PR available. So I can do that. And okay, so I'm gonna commit that. Oh, cancel, I didn't add that, sorry. Let me commit this. And then we'll come into the documentation next. So we'll take a look at the README. So we can see now down, gotta find where that is. npm dependencies. I'm gonna just copy this. npm dev dependencies, default is nothing. Ooh, default. You know what I'm thinking now is I need to check and see what happens if we don't have anything defined. So we'll fix that up there. npm save dev when scripts is enabled. List of remote. Okay, I think that's cool. So we'll update that. So update docs. Add that. And now so I think I need to figure out where all right, I'm gonna run a test here. This is great when it's defined, but what if it's not defined? Let's see what happens. Maybe there's an error there. Oh, not iTerm. So let's go open recent hello block template. So this is my template. I'm going to take the npm dependencies out of here entirely, or the dev dependencies, and I'm going to rerun this because I want to see what happens if I don't define it, if there's a problem. I don't know, because it says, the reason I'm thinking that is that it was, oh, see, there's an error here. That's it. Okay, so that's the problem. So we need to have a default value there. So let's get that handled and push that up before someone reviews this and tells me I don't know what I'm doing. What did I just? Oh, you. Is it this one? Yeah, this is it. Okay, so Options, scripts, CNP, scaffold, plugins. Okay, it's got to be in here somewhere. Oh, I'm seeing some. I see some logic in here that's problematic. This shouldn't run both if this is. Yeah, there's some logic in here. Anyway, so logic is incorrect, because if scripts is true, which is basically going to install scripts, and then either npm dependencies or dev dependencies has a size, meaning there's an array there, it's going to run both, even though it may not necessarily work. So I'm going to say if, I'm going to add a bit of a dependency thing here. So if size and then I'm going to get rid of this. Yeah, so okay, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do an if in here. I'm going to check this, right? So if size dependencies is going to run the regular dependencies. So yeah, all right, this is going to go away because we don't need that now. There we go. So if scripts installed, then it checks to see if size dependencies is a thing, and then if size dev dependencies is a thing, then we won't do this. So this is a cleaner way of doing that. Okay, so let's see if our empty array issue is still an issue at this point, because I don't know. Installing Tailwind, installing scripts. Okay, it doesn't look like it's an issue. Now let's double check that. Where did I put that thing go? Okay. And hello block template. This is going to replace it. So in here, I get rid of this now. Come back. Okay. I'm just getting rid of all this stuff. Okay, so it looks like it's working. Okay, cool. All right, so let's go. Let's undo this and get all those good things back. Why don't you remember what I want you to do? Why don't you remember? npm dev. I should learn just not try to spell it. And then in here, what do they have? Oh yeah, post CSS, right? Post CSS. Okay. So let's run it again. Let's get rid of what was in there. Let's run this again. Okay, so it's installing everything that it needs to install. Okay, cool. Cool. That looks like it's working. So let's just adjust this. Oh, this is the wrong repo entirely. Is it this one? Yeah, it is. Okay. So let's open this up. I'm gonna say correct logic around when to install dev or dependencies. Okay, I'm gonna add that. I'm gonna push that. Okay, it works. So we're gonna I'm gonna sync those changes to my fork or my branch on my fork, and they'll get automatically updated in this pull request. So you can see now we've got changelog, update docs, corrects log. It corrects the logic around when to install. So this stuff's gonna run. This is the automated checks. So anytime you push something up, like any branch, these things run. And they are taking some time. So you might wonder where these reviewers are coming from. These reviewers are coming from a code owners file. I can show you that. So in Gutenberg, in GitHub, you can define code owners, and it's in the .github folder in here under code owners. And you can see like if, like where's the package? let's see. So tooling, create block. So you can see that I'm a code owner for this, but also is Greg and Marcus Kazmierzak. So anyone defined in this list is going to get automatically requested for a review, which is super helpful, and also fills up your inbox like you would not believe. But yeah, so that's where those things come from. You can still request reviews from other folks as well. If you've like I don't know, is David in here? David, what? No, I don't see him. You probably need to be added to the WordPress team, which you can get. It's totally fine to do. You usually have to do a couple of pull requests or at least get involved a little bit. But anyone can come in and review this. Any code reviews you want to throw on there, that'd be great. Hopefully we can get this committed. I know my good friend Greg is probably off for the day now, so it probably won't happen today, but there's a good chance that this will get in there. And I'd love to, it'd be awesome if we could get, you know what, now that I'm thinking about this, it'd be great. I kind of wish I got someone else to push this up. So if there's a code change, let me know, and we can, because when this gets committed, I can add props for other people, for like co-contributors, I think. Yeah. So that's kind of all I wanted to do today. Does anyone have any questions about anything they've seen? That's a great question, David. So I did actually update the docs in the README. So if you were to go to the create block package, right? So this is the docs that are in the README of the repository. So this is where they get updated here. The NPM package uses, like, if you saw this package on NPM, it would use this stuff. But I think you're talking about the things sitting in the docs directory here, right? So if there are references to this package, getting started, create block, then I would put it in there. It really depends on what you're working on, right? Like, so this looks like this isn't creating a template. Actually, here's something that we absolutely need, is some kind of getting started or how-to guide or something on using the create block package, but to create a template. I don't think we have that yet. So that would be really good. But yeah, so the docs that drive the handbook are in here. So like for example, so the slot fill stuff that we went over a couple weeks ago, I wrote that a bunch of years ago, and that is what drives, if you look at the handbook, if you look at, let's see, so the, what is it? Was it reference guide? So slot fill reference, right? So the slot fill reference is here, and the code for that would be, I think, here, right? So that's a one-to-one thing. So if there's stuff, and this is a great way just to start contributing too. So like this is fairly low impact in the sense of worrying about getting it committed and whatnot, but definitely helps. Just going through this and updating these markdown files, adding new things as needed. I think this is a fantastic way to get started in Gutenberg. Pretty low impact, pretty low risk, but a really good way to get used to the process of making those changes. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? There's one more thing I forgot to do. I wanna add this. We should add a reference to the issue in this. So I'm going to edit this, and I'm going to say closes, and then I'm going to link my issue that I created, which is here, 39722. So what this should do is this is going to add a reference here, right? And so you can see that somewhere, in the issue, if I refresh this page now, you can see that someone linked a pull request to this, right? I'm going to let you all go. Get back to your day. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and I will see you next week. Thanks all. Bye. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give it a like. And be sure to subscribe to my channel for more content about Gutenberg and WordPress development.